Hey guys, it's Sully. Today we are going to do a full randomized playthrough of Myst. This has recently come out on Game Pass, and it's a classic puzzle game from the early 90s. I have some fond memories of playing this game back when it was new, when the internet was a completely different beast altogether, and you couldn't just go look up walkthroughs or solutions. So you have a couple of options for game setup. One of them is the classic game where puzzle solutions are static. We're going to do the randomized playthrough where it makes it so you need to actually seek out the solutions to several of the puzzles, figure things out yourself. There's two specific achievements that are tied to the randomized game mode. So what you'll do once the main menu loads up, you'll hit New Game, and that should be here momentarily. There is going to be like a minute-long intro scene that cannot be skipped. I'm not going to talk over that. So, like I said, we'll go New Game, and you want to go randomized. Classic is the option with static solutions, but there's achievements, two specific achievements, after all of that effort and never lost, that can only be earned in the randomized playthrough. So, again, this will be the introduction sequence. I'm not going to talk over this. At the end of this sequence, you interact with the book to enter the main game, and once that finishes loading, I'll pick up the dialogue.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
This is going to play through a brief video showing the main Myst Island. I'm just sort of letting it play here for a minute because I had said I was going to not talk until the main game started anyway, so this is unnecessary dialogue. But the game is a series of books where you basically enter the book to get to the area that the book describes, and this is the first of which, so I'll interact with this page of the book, and here we go. Okay, so here we go. You start here on the docks of Myst Island. A couple things I want to talk about briefly before we get started is that I like to hit the start button and go into settings. I like my Y cursor inverted, or my Y axis inverted. I just leave the default cursor, that's my preference, as opposed to like a hand. I like to hide the vehicle transitions, which makes it so if I take an elevator, I just appear at the top. Haptics, I turn that off, that's the vibration. And then under display, I like to have the dialogue subtitles on. That's just irrelevant to achievements or the game. That's my personal preference. But this second option for the gameplay context subtitles is very helpful. Basically what this does is, it's so if there's a sound that the game is making that's important, it will make a written note of it on the screen, which is going to make solving some of the puzzles much easier. So, with all of that done, one more thing I'll mention is that this run is not going to get all of the achievements. There's a speedrun achievement for getting the good ending in under 2 minutes. I'll explain that maybe at the end. And then there's a good ending with Atris, the main character, that we're not going to get. And then there's an achievement called Inside for finding the white page. Those things are all done in a short speedrun, but I believe everything else is going to be done in this run on the randomized playthrough. I'm going to minimize what needs to be done as much as I can. So if you push in the left stick, you can toggle walking and running. I like to just have it on running so I can move more quickly. You want to flip this first switch here on the docks. You want to come up this step and flip the switch next to this giant gear. There's several of these switches around the island. They serve a couple different purposes. Our purpose is to flip the ones that allow us to get the solutions for these specific puzzles. So we need to flip 4 of the switches. I think there's 7 or 8 total. Flipping the rest of them would be involved in getting that white page to get the good ending, which we're not doing. So with those 3 flipped already, you come down to this little log cabin and flip this one. And what these switches are also doing are activating markers on a map here in the library that we can then highlight those areas to get the solutions to the related puzzles. So if we come over to this island map, you see I've flipped the switch. It's turned on the gears. It's the switch to the dock, the switch to the log cabin, and the switch to the rocket. So if I interact with this this map, whenever you interact with the puzzle, it kind of zooms in on it, and you get a different control scheme. I can move the cursor around with the right stick, and I want to hold my right trigger on this knob, and now I can rotate it. And you'll see on these 4 things, it will highlight red when you get over them sufficiently. So we'll start with the gears. If I can get it on there, it's a little sensitive. Now we can get the puzzle solution to the gears. What you want to do is come over to these paintings. There's 2 of them. Interact with the handle on the left painting. Do that with either the A button, I believe, or the right trigger. And it's going to open up a secret passageway. It'll close the exit. Now you want to come back here. Something else I didn't mention is you're going to want to have a notepad and maybe your smartphone for either writing down notes or taking pictures. It's going to make things easier because these puzzle solutions, it's going to be too much to just remember. So you want to get in the elevator, you have to open the door, close the door, and then press the button. It'll just make me appear up at the top in the tower from the library. You want to open the door, if I can figure out how. And when you come out here, there's 2 things. There's steps up to a little crack outside that will now be over those gears that I had chosen on the world map just to show me that that's where I am. And then here's the key to that gear puzzle. It's a time. I'm going to write it down, 1020, and it's the code 122. I'll explain more on that later. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come get the 4 solutions essentially we need to open up the pathway to 4 different areas or 4 different ages, and then within those ages we need to solve puzzles, collect book pages, and then find our way back here to the main Myst island. So that's the gears that lead to what's called the Mechanical Age. I'll grab this and move it over to the dock, and then we'll go upstairs and get the key now to a sunken boat out on the dock. So we'll repeat the process of closing the door, taking the elevator up to the tower. Open the door, go over to the key, and this one is maybe too complicated to write down. It's a series of times and dates. So I'm going to take a picture of this with my phone so I can just reference this a little later. But basically we need to input all of that information, those 3 specific time dates, into a machine in order to progress to that age. So we'll now go back downstairs. And that sunken ship that's outside that will eventually raise will take us to the Stoneship Age. The next one is for the Channelwood Age. It's this log cabin. Well, I guess it's next to the log cabin, but it's an elevator of sorts that we need to activate next to that log cabin to get to the Channelwood Age. What we need to do is unlock a safe, and so we need the safe code, and that's what we'll get now. Again, in the classic 1993 mode, these puzzles don't change, so it's much quicker to get through. So I'm going to write down 782 for Channelwood for the safe. And we'll head back down and get the information for the Selenetic Age, which is reached through the rocket ship. Now, I'm playing on Xbox. This is optionally to be played on PC. So I'm playing with a controller. I believe you can play mouse and keyboard on Xbox. I actually did my playthrough on PC because it makes the speedrun that would be done separately for a 2-minute completion much easier on mouse and keyboard. Very difficult on controller because of some inputs you have to do under a time constraint. So 41 volts for the rocket ship. So that's everything I need to start doing some things. So what I'm going to do now is go back downstairs. And achievements will pop on the screen. I'm playing on a new profile that has never played the game before. Back in the library, we'll interact with the handle of the puzzle on the right. That's going to close the secret passageway. Something I will note is there's some charred books here, and there are 4 books that didn't get burned. Those are 1 book for each of the ages that has important information that we'll need. And then there's a book down here in the bottom right that has clues to the final puzzle. So we'll be using those books to figure out how to proceed. So I'm going to start with 41 volts to the rocket. So this one, you need to come down, and your voltage, of course, is going to be different. But you need to come down here and open a door to a control room, and we need to turn on a specific amount of voltages in order to equal 41. So there's 10 buttons over here, and then this back here on the wall, it shows that the left is our power and the right is our power to the ship, and we need to get 41 volts to the ship. And the 10 switches each provide a different amount of voltage that needs to add up for me to 41. Now, I believe if you go over 41, so this first button is 10, this next button is 7. I don't know if this is different for you or not. You're going to have to check it out. 10, 7, 8, 16, 5. So I need to get to exactly 41. 10, 7, 8, 16, 5. 1, 2, 22, 19, and 9. So I need to get to 41. So I'm just kind of looking at my numbers. I'm going to go 22, 10, and 9, which is 41. So that's 9, 22, 10, 41 volts. Now, there's the achievement that unlocks for solving the generator puzzle. Something I will mention is I believe if you exceed the voltage, you cause a problem and the power goes out. I'm not certain on this, but I'm reasonably sure that, let's say I accidentally did like 67 volts there. What I would need to do is I would need to come out here to 2 towers and climb up and flip a switch there and there to reset everything, and then I could go try again. Pretty sure that happens if you exceed the voltage, kind of like flipping a fuse, but since that is the right voltage to solve the puzzle, I can come over here and open the rocket ship. In here, there's another step we need to take in order to unlock the book that would take us to this age, the Selenetic Age. So, what we need to do now is go into the library and look at the Selenetic book. It is this blue one at the bottom left. Having some menu control issues here. Okay, so I can open this book and there'll be some textual explanation of the age, but what's important to me is a picture of a piano. There it is. You're going to want to take a picture of this because drawing this as a diagram is going to be too complicated. So I'm taking a picture of the piano because we have to input 5 musical notes into the piano to unlock the book, and that's the 5 notes we need to use. There is also an achievement here for doing this without making a mistake. So what you want to do in order to avoid having to try it in a new game is make a manual save here in the empty save slot. This way, if you make a mistake, you can reload the save and essentially have your first try over and over again. So if I come over here to the screen, this is where having the sound indicators is going to make things much easier. So my first note, I'll interact with the piano, and my first note is this. Let's try this again. Is the black key right here. Tells me that's F#1. Normally, you would have to listen to that sound and then reproduce that sound on the table behind me. Having it tell you exactly what sound it is makes it infinitely easier. My second key is this one right here. And again, I'm taking this from the picture in the book. E2. My third sound is over here, E1. My fourth sound is this one right here, A1. And my fifth sound is right next to that, B1. So my sounds are F#1, E2, E1, A1, B1. And you would have to use your diagram from the book, push each of those keys in order on this keyboard in order to be told the name of each of those notes. Once you've done that, you come over here to this interface, and there's a bunch of sliders. So what I'm going to do now is hold right trigger on this slider and move the first one up, if I can manage it properly. And I keep messing it up. Try it again. There we go. And I need to find F#1. There it is, F#1. I'll use the D-pad to go over to the next one, right trigger, right stick up, and I'm looking for E2. And then I'll trigger over to the next one. Now I'm looking for E1. A1 should be towards the bottom. Maybe it's, there it is, A1. And then D-pad over to the last one, right trigger and move up to B1. Feel like it would be right after A, but maybe I'm missing. There it is, B1. Alright, so double checking. F#1, E2, E1, A1, B1. I'll move it now. I'm using the D-pad to toggle through these. And now I'll just right trigger on the handle. It'll play the notes that I've picked in order. And there we go, that unlocked the perfect pitch achievement for solving the piano puzzle in a single try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through and unlock all of the ages before I actually go to any of them, unlock a bunch of achievements in the process. So next we'll come down and we'll use the time and puzzle solution down here on a tower. So I'll interact with this. I'm going to grab the outer, my time was 10:20, so I'm going to spin this outer one to 20-minute mark, and then I'm going to spin the inner one to the 10 o'clock. So that's 10:20. Then I'll come down and press the button. That's going to raise a ramp out to this little building. A ramp, a bridge, I guess, is more accurate. Come out here, I'll open this door with the yellow button. There's a puzzle in here we need to solve. The way this works is there's 2 levers and there's 3 numbers. Each of these gears has the number 1, 2, and 3. My gear solution is 1, 2, 2. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull this lever and then let go. And that's changed the bottom 2 to 1 and 1. I need those both to be 2 and 2. Now I'm going to pull the top lever, and it's going to change the top gear to 1 and the middle gear to 3. If I keep holding it, the middle gear will continue to change. So what you want to do is put the bottom gear at the right position, and you want to get 1 away from the top gear. The middle gear is irrelevant initially because that one will continue to change with time. So I'm going to hold this lever and hold it. There we go. Oop, I did it wrong. You can reset it over on the right, but I'm going to trigger it 3 times. Now, I'm sorry, I made a mistake here, but to explain it again, I'm 1 away on the top, which needs to be a 1. And then I need to hold the middle one, hold the switch until the middle one changes to a 2. There we go. I let go too soon. That's unlocked the achievement can opener for solving the gear puzzle. And what this has done is indicated that it's opened the big gear up on the dock out up to the right. And that's exposed the book that leads me to the mechanical age. What we're going to do here now is come inside the cabin. And I have the safe puzzle solution. And mine was 782, so I'll spin this around to 7. Spin the middle one around to 8. And 2. There's the safe cracker achievement. I'm going to go ahead and interact with the thing inside to ignite the fire. Now what I need to do is come over here, interact with this handle, hold my right trigger on the outside, and then spin it around in a circle. I'm struggling to spin it, but it's going. I'm not sure why I'm having such a hard time getting it to spin. You see the meter over there? I want it all the way to the right. There we go. I think it's working. So I'll go ahead and walk away from that. When I come out here, this tree will be raising up. What I need to do is get into the alcove when it gets to ground level. And then there's an achievement for riding this all the way to the top. So there's top of the world. That's an achievement only. That has nothing to do with progression. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of do have to do that anyway. When I push the button, it takes me back down to ground level. Now, what I need to do, again, is come in. It's going to start rising back up. What I want to do is let it go all the way. And then I need to... I'm just trying to think if there's another achievement for this before we go into the age. No, I'm not going to do it now, but what you'll do is you'll turn the handle the other way so the fire goes out. The tree will start falling. You can then go into the tree, ride it down to the bottom, and take the book to the... no, that's the Channelwood Age. So the only age left to unlock now is the Stoneship Age, and this is the most complicated one. This was the one that had all those times and dates. So you want to come in here into this observatory, and you want to hit the button on the wall to close the door and turn off the lights. Then you're going to come interact with this panel, and now this is where you need your picture of times and dates. So my first one is November 23rd, 9791. So I'm going to grab the handle, move it up to the top, change this to November. And then we need to change this to 9791. What time? 6:57 p.m. So this is a 24-hour clock. So 6 is 1800. 1857. November 23rd, 9791, 6:57 p.m. Hit the white button. It's going to show me a constellation. You're going to need to take a picture of this. We need to cross-reference this with the book to figure out what it's actually showing us. So now, we need to go to the second date, which is September 21st. $61.38. At 12:16 p.m. make sure I've got this right. September 21st, 6138, 12:16 p.m. We'll get the next constellation. I'll take a picture of it. And then go back to the final date, August 7th, 7352. It's 8:15 p.m., which is going to be 20. August 7th, 7352 at 8:15 p.m. Third constellation will unlock the achievement for viewing some dated constellations. I'll take this last picture. So now I have all 3 constellations. We'll go back into the library. We'll grab the book for the Stoneship Age. Which is the upper right book. Then I need to look at my constellations and figure out which ones the book is describing. Oops, so it looks like the Beetle was my first constellation. My second constellation, let's see if I can figure out what this is. Is the Anchor. And my third constellation, I believe, is the Eye. Yep, it was just the 4 across kind of in the center. So Beetle, Anchor, and Eye are my solutions for this puzzle. So now I can come outside, and here's a mini replica of the sunken ship, which exists out there. And there are 8 possible constellations, and you can toggle them on or off. So there's the Eye. That's a snake. That's the Beetle. I think this is the Anchor. Yep. So that unlocks the achievement for solving the sunken ship puzzle. So now I've got all of the ages accessible. The mechanical age through the gear, the Stoneship Age through the ship, the Selenetic Age through the rocket, and the Channelwood Age down here through that tree elevator. So now it's a matter of going to each of the ages and working through them. I'll just start up here with the metallic age. So what we'll do is interact with the book, and we will be taken there. There's generally, within each age, kind of a random achievement, and then an achievement for getting back to the Myst Island, which your goal in each age is to find a blue and a red page for each of the brothers, and then solve the overarching solution to find a pathway back to Myst Island. So that's what we'll do on each of the 4 ages. So when you appear in the mechanical age, once I gain control, you'll see essentially what we have is a structure on a rotating platform, and we'll find a way to rotate it around to 2 other areas, well actually 3, and then what we need to do is we need to find a code that we can then input here, and that'll open a trapdoor there that get us out of here. So what I want to do first is come in, and we're going to collect the 2 pages. Most ages have a bedroom for each of the 2 brothers. This is one of the brothers' bedrooms. A bunch of things you can interact with in here. What you want to do is hit the blue button on the, I guess this is some sort of a cabinet. When you hit that blue button, it's going to open up a doorway. Come in here, grab the blue page. Something that I want to mention is there is a blue and red book where these pages go in the library, and what you want to do is don't interact with either of those books and place the pages. We'll do it all at once at the end. Open the chessboard, hit the button, come in here and get the red page. So now all we have to do is basically exit the age. There's a situational achievement for looking through this telescope with the structure aligned a certain way. And my understanding is that that's kind of buggy, so we're going to make a manual save before we do any of that. Anything that could affect that. Come around here, hit a button, it opens a ramp, and then when you come down here, there's a switch you can interact with, and you need to pull the lever until the symbol on the left is aligned, and that'll activate the mechanics of the structure, basically. And then come out of here, hit the button again to raise the ramp, and we can get to an elevator. So now you can go inside this elevator, hit the up button. This will take us up to the top, and now what you need to do is you need to hit this middle button and then step out, and what that's going to do is lower the elevator to where we can access some controls up on the top. What I'm going to do here is make a manual save. This way you can come back and try this again if it somehow messes up the It's Bob achievement. And the way this works is the lever on the left, you need to move upwards, and that now allows us to use the lever on the right to spin the building. And there's four places you can spin it to. And I believe if you pull the lever on the left, it makes a noise, cowbell, and that indicates which way we're facing. We should be facing south. That's the starting point. We want to spin it 3 times, and there's no way to really know, so it's kind of like once, twice, 3 times. Let's see. I believe that is the... Let's see what sound it gives us. That gives the spin sound. So we're facing west. I believe that's the way we want to go. I should have done a little bit better research on this one. One of 2 things are going to happen. Either we've rotated this to where we can look at Bob in the telescope, or we've rotated it to where one of our puzzle solutions are. Again, going from memory, I don't remember, but hopefully this will all work out for us. So what I'm going to do is come to the room with the telescope, and there it is. There's Bob in the telescope. And there's the achievement. It's Bob. So that worked for me. Again, I haven't had problems with that achievement, but other people have. So you're going to want to make sure that you spin it the way I did to get the spin sound. And then you can see that we should be facing nowhere on the bridge here, just off to a dead end. So south is the starting point. That's a cowbell sound. West was the spin sound, and that's to look at Bob in the telescope. And then north and east are going to be the ways we need to spin it to get our actual puzzle solutions. So I'll go back up to the top and hit the middle button and hop out. Now again, there's 4 sounds. Clink always indicates north, cowbell always indicates south, exhaust always indicates east, and spin always indicates west. And that doesn't change even with the randomizer. So now I'm going to try to rotate it 1 time. And I want to let's see what that sound was. That was a cowbell sound. So that now we're back to the south. So I've made 1 full rotation. So if we were leaving, that's where I'd want to be, but we're not leaving. So let's see if I can operate these triggers properly. Try to give it 1 spin. There we go. And we'll just double check it. Exhaust sound. So it's now facing east. So that'll get me one of the puzzle solutions for this. And now these solutions are like little graphical images. You may choose to take a picture of them, or you may choose to jot them down, whatever you think is easier. I think there's like 8 or 10 different options, and you'll get 2 of them here. I'm just going to make a jot of this. This is a circle with a square in the middle, and borders of a square. So now I want to spin the building essentially twice. We're facing, what did I say, east here? We want it facing north, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I need to spin it over there so we're facing north. That's south, that's the exit. So yeah, if that's north, that's east, west was Bob, and south is the exit. So I'm going to spin it one time so it'll be facing north. And again, you kind of just have to eye it up how far you think it's spinning. But the sound will confirm for you that you've spun it right. So we're looking for the clink sound. That should be about one spin. Let's see if it's a clink sound. It is a clink sound. So we can come out, go get our second half of the solution, and then we can leave. So obviously there's some backtracking and running around. Once I do come back to the elevator, I'll have to spin it twice from north to south so we can get to the exit. And the first two parts are an upper side triangle and kind of a wavy image. Alright, so now I've got my solution to the puzzle. I need to spin the building back to the south, which would be the cowbell sound. That will be all for the mechanical age. 1 down, 3 to go. Cowbell sound, so that's good. So now I can put my code into the machine here at the start. And my code was upper left triangle, wavy thingamajigger, square with a circle with a square, and then the two halves of the square. Push the button. Map is opened. Achievement will unlock for solving the puzzle. Or no, I'm sorry, the achievement will unlock for returning from the mechanical age once I interact with the book. Okay, so this is just going to take us right back to the library. It's, again, I'm going to point out the red and blue books, which are related to the antagonists, Atris's sons, Sirius, or Sirius, I don't remember, and Akinar. Basically, they're trying to trick you to release them from their books for bad endings, and actually we're going to get one of their endings. I think we'll be able to get multiple endings here at the end, but that'll involve just some save manipulation that I'll explain later. But basically, as you approach these books, which it wouldn't matter if you did it, it'll start to place the pages around them. As long as you don't interact with any of the pages for now, you're good. I'm just going to not even go near them. So now we've got the mechanical age done. We'll go out to the... we'll go out to the Stoneship Age here in the boat. So go in here, interact with the book, and we'll be transported there. This is basically a very small area. Not that the last one was that large, but And what you've got is some flooded areas that you need to use a controller to change the flooding so you can access different areas. And you need to turn on some electricity. We need to find the coordinates in terms of a 360-degree compass of the lighthouse, so we can then turn on power to it and escape. I think the randomized thing here is the direction of the lighthouse in terms of the degrees, the 360 possible degrees. So when we appear, first thing I'm going to do is, you see here we have flooding, this is the exit. I'm going to go out here to the flood controls. I'm going to go here to the lighthouse. There's three things that can be flooded: the lighthouse, the exit boat, and the wooden structure that has two entrances. I'm going to go out here to the flooding controls. I'm going to grab the knob and unflood. I'm going to unflood to the right. Push the button, and that's going to unflood the lighthouse. But before I go there, I want to climb up to the top and get the direction of the lighthouse. This will be random for you as well. So if I interact with this, I can push, move my cursor to the side. I want to find the actual lighthouse. There it is. It's at about 80. I think it's actually 77.5. You see it's just left of 80, so that's going to come in and be important later. You want to write down what yours is. I think the default without randomizing it is 135 degrees, because eventually there's a bunch of buttons in a circle, and I'll need to go to the one that's 77.5, which is, I think, one button before 90. I think it's 12.5 per button. We'll figure that out with certainty when I get there. So now if I come across, I've unflooded the lighthouse. Normally there's water, but now there's no water, so I can go down to the bottom. And there's a barrel with a chest on top. And what I want to do is open up the nozzle to drain the water out of the barrel, and then once the water drains out, I want to close it. And then what I want to do is return the water to here. That'll cause the barrel to raise up since it's not heavy and loaded down, and I'll be able to get access to that chest up high. So I need to come back here now and unflood it, and I'll do the middle one this time. Make sure you've pulled it all the way to the bottom, because if you're like a hair off of being all the way down, it won't actually unflood what you want unflooded. The middle unfloods the center buildings. I'm not going there yet, though. I'm going back to the lighthouse. Here we see the barrel now floats. I can now interact with this key, which wouldn't reach the keyhole on the wall, but it will reach the keyhole in the chest to unlock the chest. Now I can get a key out of the chest that can reach the keyhole on the wall, interact with it, and that'll activate the stairs. I can now climb up. Up at the top, what I need to do is activate the power, interact with this little crank. Then if I grab the crank and spin, it goes dark for a second, but then it lights up as I spin it around, and you see the meter on the right fill up all the way. That will now drain, so if I'm too slow in doing what I need to do, I might have to come back here and turn the power on again, activate the crank again, which could be annoying because you need to flood or unflood certain things. So I'll come in the left entrance here. I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom, and there's a room, one of the boys' rooms, and I'll get his page. Now what we're ultimately trying to do is collect all of the pages. So we want to get the blue and red page from each age. I thought, maybe I'm misremembering, I thought the page was just on, oh there it is. I guess I feel like the page location was randomized because I remember it being on this desk, so you may have to check drawers and just lying around somewhere in this room to find that red page. I didn't realize that was randomized as well. And this will lead us to the compass puzzle. Now before I solve the compass puzzle, I'm going to go get the other page and then come back. When I come out this way, I want to go downstairs, not upstairs. Open up the hatch to the other brother's room. This page I remember being in this drawer. There it is. Again, it turns out that if that's randomized, you may have to check all the drawers. It's got to be in here somewhere. So now once I have both pages, I'm going to come back to this giant compass. Now my measurement was 77.5. This is the top, this one, so I'm going to kind of get below that. So that's the top. This is 180. The yellow points are 90, 180, 270, and I guess 360 or 0, which means the orange pages are 45, 135, 215, and then what, 260, I guess. But I want 77.5. Oh no, it took too long and the power went out. So the power went out as I was explaining that, which I guess is good, because this way if it happens to you, you'll know exactly what to do. So you can see you only have so long with the power on to get in and get everything done. And if I had had like 10 more seconds, I would have been good. It's not really that big of a deal, I guess, because I'm just going to run out here. I don't have to change any flooding, actually. I just have to crank the generator again. But anyway, my measurement of 77.5 should be one button before 90, and we'll go look at that more closely here in a second. I think each button is 12 and a half, or 12 and a quarter, 12 and a half degrees maybe. I don't remember the exact math on it, but we'll go look again and find out for sure. Mine might have not been 77.5, but it was just below 80. So if I was really smart, I would have figured this all out specifically so I wasn't kind of fumbling through it. But let's see, from top, so if we said this is 45, this is going to be what, 22 and a half? So each button is half of 22 and a half, which is what, 11 and a quarter? So if mine was just before 90, it would be 78.75 or something. So there we go. I've hit the right button and unlocked the beacon achievement for solving the compass puzzle. Now, if you hit the wrong button, it's just going to turn out the power. You would have to run out, turn on the power, and come back and try again. And basically, again, the yellow points are 90 degrees. So this is 90, this is 180, and this is 270. And again, the orange ones are going to be 45, which means that the black one is half of 45, which is 22 and a half. So if this button is 22 and a half, this button is 11 and a quarter. And you should be able to use that from, 0, 11 and a quarter, 22 and a half. You follow that math all the way around to figure out exactly where yours is in relation to, here is 180 at the bottom. So it's just the degrees of a circle, basically, to solve your compass puzzle. So once that's done, we're essentially done in this age and we can leave. I hope I explained that thoroughly. I apologize if I didn't. I feel like I could ramble about it a little more, but I think that's unnecessary at this point. So now we need to unflood the third area, which is the left setting. Make sure you lower it all the way down and then hit the button. And that will unflood this ship right here. Solving the compass puzzle has turned on the power in this ship. And that will, otherwise it would have been dark in here. We can then interact with this green button to reveal the book, to exit the age, and that'll unlock an achievement. Now, the two ages left, the Channelwood Age and the Selenetic Age. The Channelwood Age is the less complicated of the two, so I'm going to do that one next. I'll leave the most complicated one for last. So we'll appear back in the Myst library, turn around, and run straight out. This is the one that involves that tree that rises out. So the furnace is burning, the tree is up, and what you need to do here is turn off the furnace and then run out as the tree is descending and hop into the alcove to ride down to the bottom. So let's see if I can get this to work. So I'm going to spin it to the left. See if that worked or not. Yep, here it comes. It's coming down. Alright, we had plenty of time. Hop in here. Of course, I have the transitions turned off, so it just takes me down to the bottom. Once we get in here in the bottom, we can interact with the book to travel to the... what is this one called? Channelwood Age. This age is kind of a swampy area with wooden paths through the swamp, and then elevators that raise that you can ride up to elevated areas. So it's all controlled by water. We need to turn on a water valve, and then we need to redirect the water to different parts of. You'll see piping throughout the area with triggers that you can control the flow of the water. And the trick with this age is directing the water to essentially generators that can activate lifts and whatnot. So it's kind of maze-like, not really too bad. I'm going to start by heading straight ahead and veering left. Continue heading straight and veering left, and then you'll see an island here with a windmill. That's our first goal. This island with the windmill has the controls for the water. And we're going to turn on the water that's then going to flow through this piping throughout the pathways. So interact with the valve. Pipe water is flowing. Now that's given me, from that setting I have to help me with sound, so we know where the water is. Obviously, for anybody who's hearing impaired, you're going to need that. We want to now, this first lever, we want to divert it to the left. And now follow it. It's already set to go to the right. Here it's already set to go to the right. And here it's already set to go to the right, which will take me to a lift. Open the door, you have to close the door before you can pull the trigger. And this will raise me up to the second level. Once up here, this is pretty linear, for the most part. There's a few offshoots, like there's an offshoot there to the left that's just a dead end. Follow the path to the right. It's going to turn 90 degrees to the right. And then it's going to turn 90 degrees to the right again. Well, actually, there's a fork here. You want to take the path to the right. Follow it to a dead end, but there's a switch to flip. And if you look out straight ahead after I flip this switch, a door is going to open. You want to be careful, because if you accidentally flip it again, it'll close the door, but you want that door open off in the distance. So now we'll backtrack. And take the right path this time. I believe the left is just a dead end, so we'll continue to the right. Continue straight. And then around to the right. This should lead us to the door that we opened. Now here's another lift, but unfortunately this lift is dead. So I need to take this long spiraling staircase down. Almost get a little dizzy going down this. And at the bottom we're going to have to redirect the water. Hit the trigger to open the door. But we're going to have to redirect the water to this generator to get that lift upstairs to work. So I'll follow this all the way back to the front. Right here. This is where we can now redirect it to the right. And now with water flowing through these pipes to the right to this generator, I can now take the stairs up and take that second lift up to the third level. Up on the third level, I'll open the door. First thing we do is a U-turn. This is one of the brothers' rooms right here. Just coming in here to get his page. It should be in one of the drawers. Or out visibly. There it is. You can now backtrack and go the other direction. There's a room here that I think you don't even have to go into. There's nothing of importance in there. Yeah, you have to go into it. You can only open that door from the other side, so this is, I don't even know what. I'll just go right through. And this leads out to the other brother's room, and there is a missable achievement out here. What you want to do is come interact with this device and push the button on the right, and you can just walk away. There's the blue page. Pushing that button unlocks the He is Prepping achievement, Cirrus's message to Akinar. Here you can open this door with the handle to avoid that room. And now, we've done everything we need to do in this age We just need to find our way back to Myst Island. So I'll take the lift down. And then I need to do some reconfiguration down at the bottom. So we'll take the spiraling pathway down. And then I need to divert the water again. So we're going to go back to the first lever, divert it to the left. And I need to divert it to the left again. And we want this one to stay. And then now it should be diverted out to this generator to where I can activate it to extend the bridge. The bridge extended, I can walk around. And this will lead to another lift, but of course we need to divert the water to the generator for that lift. But before I can do that, I have to come around here and interact with this switch to extend the pipe so that water can reach the generator for the final lift. So now I need to backtrack all the way and divert the water essentially to this pipe into that generator so we can access that lift. So just follow my pathing here. I'm pretty sure I know where to go. Hopefully I don't make a wrong turn. We want to go back and divert, I believe, the first one to the right. We want it going to the right here. Here we want it going to the left. Let's check. Yep, now it's flowing through, and that's it. Should be flowing to that generator now. So we can come back and backtrack around. Water is no longer flowing on this side. But I've successfully diverted it over here. So I can now pull the lever, which will turn on the lift, come inside, close the door, ride up to the top. And this will take me to the book that leads back to Myst Island, so that will unlock an achievement for finding a way back from Channelwood. So just one more age left, the Selenetic Age. This one is the most complicated. There's two somewhat complicated randomized puzzles that we have to work with. And one of the achievements that is directly tied to a randomized playthrough is gotten by solving one of the puzzles in this age without making a mistake. But you can make a manual save before you try, so in the off chance that you make a mistake, you could just, reload your save and try it again. And that's the second of the two puzzles in this age. So once I gain control back in the library, we'll head out and around to the rocket ship. We've already solved all the puzzles in here, so I can interact with the book and head to the Selenetic Age. Now in this age, what you have is, again, a small area with an acoustic or sound system set up. There's 5 interactive points where we need to press a button, and each point has a different type of sound. There's a water, a crystal sound, a broken clock sound, an air flowing sound, and a rumbling lava sound. And what we need to do is turn on the microphones, I guess, at each of these sound points. And then we need to use a machine to lock on to each of the sound points. And then when we press a button, it'll play them in a specific order. And then we need to put those sound points into a panel next to a door in the order the machine gives us in order to open the door. So here I am, I'll press the button to exit the rocket ship. And there you can kind of see the antenna or the receivers of that central area where it receives the sounds from the different sound makers. Here's the panel that we'll come to last once we know the proper order. I'll start by going up these steps. This was kind of the most out-of-the-way one. And then we'll press the button for running water. And I'll turn on the light to indicate that this running water is now being picked up by the microphone and sent via, the magic of sound towards the center. Also want to carefully remember to pick up the blue page out here. This is another of the puzzles where having the visual sound indicators is a big help. Come up here, up these steps, and we'll turn on the lava rumbling, which is down here, to the microphone, and then sent towards the center. This is the broken clock. Turn that on. This is the ethereal crystals. There's the red page. I'll grab that after I press the button. And then following it around and across the bridge, we'll activate the moving air. Or the wind, I guess, is what they call it. The blowing wind, which I'm picking up out here over the water. So now, come down this stairway. With ladder, I guess. You can turn on the lights, it's not really needed. It's not, but I always do it. And then you just follow through this cave, and you end up out in the middle area where all the sounds are sent to. Once out here, you need to open the panel. And then what you have is the 5 buttons for the 5 sounds. So I'm going to start with water. Now what I need to do is, I need to interact with this, and I need to spin around until I find the water. And if you see that static indicator at the top, will also indicate there's the wind blowing. I think I have to go really far now. This should be lava. Oh no, that's the water. Water flowing. So now I'm pretty well centered on that. You can hear it clearly, you don't hear any static, and you can see that little sound wave in the middle is pretty tall. If I was off center, it wouldn't be, the sound wave would be distorted and I would hear the static. So make sure you're locked onto that fully. Now I'll go for lava. Try going to the left. This one is by, the trees, so that's going to make it easier to find. Here's the trees. There's the lava rumbling. Got a pretty good center on that. So now we'll go clocks. I think that's it. I think I passed it. Broken clock sounds, pretty good. I think we started by the crystals, so I'm going to go this way a little bit. Very good, ethereal crystal sounds, and now we just need to find the water. I'm sorry, the airflow, which is going to be out here to the right a little bit of a ways. Should be right around here. Wind blowing. Try to get it better. There we go. No static. So I've got all of my elements, so to speak, with no static. Once I've got locked onto all of them, I press the summation button, and it's going to play them in order. Crystal, wind, clock, water, lava. So that order is important. Crystals, wind, clock, water, lava. Make a note of that. Obviously play it again if you didn't catch the order it gave you. And then once you have the 5-element order, you can go ahead and leave here and head back to that panel by the first door. So now I will set the 5 buttons from left to right in the order that they were given to me. First button is already set to wind, but I need to interact with the knob and spin around until I find ethereal crystals. There we go. Then I'll go to the second button, go over to the knob. This needs to be the wind. Third button needs to be the clock sound. Fourth button needs to be water. And fifth button needs to be lava. Alright, so I've got them all in order. I'll press this red button. It will play them in the order that the other device gave them to me. Now the door here will open. That puzzle is solved. And now we're moving on to the maze puzzle. And again, there's an achievement for making it through this maze puzzle without taking any wrong turns, basically. It's a series of tracks where you have to use audible cues to know which way to go. So I'm going to come inside this machine. I'm going to make a manual save right here. This way, if I make a mistake, I can start over. And now what you want to do is interact with push the left knob up, and then move into position to actually start moving this contraption along the path. So again, the 4 directions each have a sound tied to them, and that's not randomized. Clink is always north, Cowbell is always south, exhaust is always east, and spin is always west. So what you need to do at each location is match the direction with the sound you're given and go in that direction. It gets a little complicated because eventually there's 2 sounds, which means you might have to go northeast or southwest or whatever. But since we know which sound since we know all the sounds and we can see them on the screen, we know a clink means I need to go north. You can push this button at the bottom to replay the sound. So now I'm set to north. I could use the knob on the right to spin myself. If I were to move it to the right, I would go northeast, then to the right it would be east, and I could rotate it around in the 8 directions. I'm already facing the right direction, so I'll go forward. You always want to go forward on the left switch. If you pull it down, you go backwards, and that's how you would backtrack to correct a mistake. But you can't make any mistakes in order to unlock the Never Lost achievement. So now it's played an exhaust sound, which is east. So I'm going to push the wrong thing. I'm going to move over to the knob on the right, and I need to move to the right twice to get from north through northeast to east. And then I'm always going to double check my sound by pushing the button to ensure that before I go east, that matches the exhaust sound. So now we go forward. I think there's 14 steps in this, so this does take about, 6 or 8 minutes maybe to get through it all properly. Cowbell sound is south, so I want to spin to the right twice, which will move me southeast and then south. Double check on my button. Cowbell sound is south, so then we'll go forward. Exhaust sound is east, so we'll come back southeast and then east. Double check the sound. It is an exhaust. We are facing east. I'll go forward. Clink sound is north, so we need to come to the left twice, through northeast to north. Double check. Clink sound, move forward. Exhaust sound is east, so we'll move it to the right twice, northeast and then east. Double checking, exhaust sound, move forward. Cowbell is south. Facing south. It is a cowbell. Move forward. Obviously just double checking each one to be absolutely certain that I don't make the wrong move and force myself to start this sequence all over. Cowbell sound. Going to double check it even though it just said cowbell sound. Facing south. We'll go forward. Spin sound. Spin sound is west. So I'll spin to the right twice. I'll double check that it is indeed spin sound. Facing west, moving forward. Should start getting double sounds here pretty soon. Spin sound is west. Just double checking it to be sure. Go forward. Cowbell sound, that was south. Go back to the left twice. Double check that it is indeed cowbell before moving forward. Cowbell sound. Well, that's south. That's the way we're facing, so I'll double check. Move forward. Now we've got two sounds. We've got cowbell and spin. Cowbell is south, spin is west, so we want to go southwest. Double check. Cowbell and spin is south and west, so I'll go forward. You can see this would be considerably more difficult if you had to recognize the sounds without having, being told exactly what they are. Clink is north. So we're going to have to spin it to west, to northwest, and then up to north. Press the button to double check. Clink, facing north, moving forward. Spin sound, that's a west. So we'll move it left twice. Facing west, double check for spin sound. Facing west, spin sound, moving forward. Should be getting close. Cowbell and spin, again, is southwest. So I'm facing west, we need to go southwest. So move it left once. Double check the sounds so I don't make a mistake. Cowbell and spin, southwest, moving forward. Cowbell and spin. Hey, that's southwest, right? Double check it. Cowbell is south, spin is west, facing southwest, moving forward. There we go. I think it was 14 steps. And again, your path will be randomized, but as long as you remember that Clink is north, Cowbell is south, Exhaust is east, and Spin is west, you'll have no problem getting through that, provided you just take the care to ensure that you are facing the right direction before you move forward. So once you reach the end, you can back away from the control panel, press the blue button to open the door, head straight ahead, and we'll get the book that'll take us back to Myst Island, and we'll unlock the achievement for escaping the Selenetic Age, the most complicated. And we're almost done at this point. About an hour and 15 minutes. Certainly could have shaved off some time by going quicker, but I tried to be pretty exhaustive and thorough and, not too deliberately fast in my explanation of everything. Okay, one last step before we can complete the game. What you need to do is come here to the books and go to this book in the bottom right. And this is annoying. You need to open the book and you need to spam all the way to page 158. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. Oh, okay, whew, that could have been bad if I had to start over. So, these are different puzzle solutions, and if you play the brothers' pages, when you play the brothers' 5th pages, they'll both tell you to look at page 158. So page 158 isn't randomized. They couldn't change that because it's already in the dialogue for the brothers. But what they can change is what page 158 looks like. So you're going to want to take a picture of that symbol because you're going to need to input this momentarily into a puzzle. So once you have the page 158 image, come over here to the fireplace and open the fireplace. Come inside, press the button. Now, if you interact with this panel, we can highlight the buttons as indicated on that page 158. This is the hardest part of the speedrun, which we're not doing, is inputting the code with a controller especially is kind of complicated. It's much quicker with a mouse and keyboard. If you go too fast, it screws you up. See, I went down and hit, and so it takes practice to get the timing proper on this. But this is the hardest part of the speedrun, is it's a different code, but it's a static code that you put in trying to get everything done in 2 minutes. So once I've got the code input, I'll press the red button. If I've done it right, it'll unlock this panel, and you'll get the firecracker achievement. Now, what you want to do here is take the blue page, take the red page, and what you're going to want to do here is make a manual save. This way you can get multiple endings from this playthrough. So I've got my manual save. What I'm going to do is interact with the panel. Just put in the wrong code by turning one of the buttons off and it'll open the panel. And now I'm going to come out here and I'm going to approach the red book. It's going to put the pages. And that's going to unlock the achievement for finding all of the pages without inserting any of them. If I interact with any of these pages, it'll start inserting them in the book. And once I insert all of the pages into either the red or blue book, it'll trigger the ending associated with that book. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it with the blue book. I'll interact with this page. I'll interact with this page. If you interact with the book, it starts giving you the cinematic from the page. Just waste some time. Once I interact with this page, it's going to now trigger the bad ending for, I believe, blue is Akinar. And this should pop a couple of achievements. There's the I'm Free achievement. That's just for getting the bad ending with Akinar. We're going to eventually reload the save to get different endings. And there's the achievement for achieving one of the brothers' endings on a randomized playthrough. So now what we've done is we've freed the brother and trapped ourselves in the book. You can certainly feel free to watch that if you want. And then what you would do is load your manual save, which will take us back inside the fireplace. And then there's 2 more endings you can get here. I'll just take a minute to go through them just to show you. But you can get the other brother's ending, Cirrus's ending, by exiting the fireplace and then putting the red pages into the book. And then you can get the bad ending for Atris, which is going to him in that green book without the special white page. And we didn't bother getting the white page because you would get that by doing the speed run to get the white page and bring it to him in under 2 minutes. And what I'll probably do is go ahead and do that speedrun achievement just here on the tail end of this in case anybody's interested in seeing it. So we just got the blue book, Akinar ending. I'll come over to the red book. So there is the other brother's bad achievement. Now, I'm going to show you the path for the speedrun achievement in a separate playthrough. I'm not going to get it, though, because I don't think I can do it quickly enough with the controller. But I'm going to reload one more time to show you just interacting with the green book and unlocking Atris's bad achievement. And that should be everything except for the speedrun, the white page, the good ending without inserting a red or blue page, and once you get the good ending, Atris allows you to come back to Myst Island and explore post-game. When you get the bad ending with Atris, which I'm about to do, you're trapped in his area called Denis forever, so you don't get the achievement for going back to Myst. So we should have it all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should have 21 of 25 after I pop Atris's bad achievement here. 21 of 26. I'll look in a second. So you just interact with this green book to get to Atris. This transports you to an area called Denis. He asks you for the white page, which is the key to the good ending. We didn't get it, so we get Atris's bad ending, and we're stuck here forever. So here we are in Denis, where Atris is doing whatever it is he's doing. We come to him. He says, "Great, you found me. I'm so glad you're here. Give me the page so we can have great success." And then when he realizes you don't have the page, well, you're stuck here forever. That's the only way to escape this area. It's kind of a prison.
What kind of fool are you?
It actually makes me
You
feel
don't take
kind of
my
bad.
warning seriously. Welcome to Dunny. You and I will live here forever.
So now I will come over to my achievements, and as I said, 21 of 26. They're all secret, so I can't show you. But the achievements we are missing right now are finding the white page, speedrun for getting the good ending in under 2 minutes, getting the good ending without putting red or blue pages into the book, getting the good ending at all, and then returning to Myst Island from Denis. So I can show you quickly how to do that. You would have to start a new game, and you want to do this on classic mode so you know the puzzle solution. Now, the puzzle solution is that sequence you need to put into the fireplace. I'll put a screenshot of this in the video description if you need it. Obviously, you'll be able to see me do it or pause it on my screen or take a screenshot of that, but I'll have an actual link to the image of that puzzle solution
as I had planned.
in the description of the video.
Of which I had only
Unfortunately, this is unskippable, so I'll
I've
just
tried
kind
to
of
speculate
let
where
it play
might have
out.
landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book.
And when I'm done with this
unsettling to me.
speedrun, I should unlock the 4 non-speedrun achievements.
I know my apprehensions
I guess
might
it's
never be
possible
allayed,
that I finish the
and
speedrun in
so I
time, but
close,
it's probably unlikely.
realizing that
Again,
perhaps
because it's much
the
easier
ending
with mouse and
is not
keyboard
yet
than with
written.
controller. So we'll go into Myst, and then we need to flip all of the switches on the island. We're going to skip the first switch on the dock that was for the boat. We're going to come back to that one last. And after we flip the rest of the switches, flipping that one twice makes the special page appear. Then we go to the fireplace puzzle and go to Atris and the green book with the white page, and that triggers the good ending. And this may just take several tries. Again, I did it on PC. Apparently you can play mouse and keyboard. It has mouse and keyboard support on Xbox, so you may try that. Or you may just try it with a controller a few times. I'm not sure when the 2-minute timer starts, what affects it. I think it starts when you gain control on the dock here, and I think it ends when you enter Denis with the white page. So I'm going to ignore that switch. Hit that switch. I'll hit the switch next to the observatory. Go get the switch out by the rocket ship. We had used all of these switches in the randomized playthrough, but there's other switches that we just ignored. There's a switch by the well. There's a switch by the power house, and a switch by the log cabin. Got a little lag there. We also need to put the time into this 10:20. I'm sorry, 10:40. 2:40. 2:40 is the time you have to put there. While the bridge is rising, I'm going to come out and hit this lever. Here's the bridge that I looked at away for. And we flip this lever. Or switch, I'm sorry. If I could find it, how annoying is that? The precision of the controller. Much easier with a mouse and keyboard. So now I'm going to go back to the first switch on the dock, and when I flip it twice, it's going to make a special white page appear. And that white page is the key to the good ending. So here it is. It'll be an achievement for collecting that white page. Now we need to quickly go solve the fireplace puzzle. This is the make or break moment, is getting this puzzle input correctly. Much easier if you have the puzzle memorized. It's kind of complicated. I think I got it right. Yes. So quickly enter that sequence, turn around, enter the green book, and this should pop some achievements. I feel like the speedrun popped for me as soon as I loaded in, but I still do need to go interact with Atris and give him the page to actually trigger the ending. So yeah, it looks like I wasn't quick enough for the speedrun. But that's the path and the gist that you need to follow in order to get it.
My friend, you've returned. And the page. Did you bring the page? You've done the right thing. I have a difficult choice to make. My sons have betrayed me. I know what I must do. I shall return shortly.
So anyway, yeah, the achievement definitely should have popped as soon as you either interact with the green book or as soon as you enter this age for the speedrun. I was obviously too slow. You can shave off some seconds by being more dexterous with the switches, the levers, and not, you know, having to fumble around to get yourself aligned properly to flip them. I think I was pretty efficient with inputting the fireplace puzzle. But yeah, so this should be everything. Once I am able to go back to Myst once he finishes talking. Yep, so I got the book achievement, or the page achievement when I picked up the white page. 2 good ending achievements just now, and I'll get an achievement for going back to Myst from Denis. So the only missing achievement will be the speedrun, which I showed you the path. You would just have to maximize on execution in order to get it done in under 2 minutes. And I believe it's 2 minutes from control on the dock to entering the green book, and the achievement should pop either during loading into Denis or once you appear in Denis. And you're just going to have to start a new game and try it until you get the timing chipped away adequately. And that's Myst. That's everything you would need to do to complete the game. I only wish you would have seen me properly execute the speedrun, but again, it's much easier with mouse and keyboard than with controller. So consider trying it on a PC or plugging a mouse and a keyboard into your Xbox. But there you have 25 of 26, and only the speedrun is missing. Hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in subsequent videos.